Did Paul Heyman just disrespect Becky Lynch to her face on Monday Night Raw? And did Seth Rollins seriously let it happen? The internet is exploding right now, and if you're not furious about what went down, you clearly weren't paying attention. This wasn't just another segment. This was a calculated attack on one of the greatest female wrestlers of our generation, and the fact that we're even having this conversation in 2025 shows that some people in WWE still don't get it. But here's what really has everyone talking: Seth's reaction afterward. Or should I say, his lack of reaction? We need to talk about this immediately because what happened on Raw has massive implications for both Becky and Seth's future in WWE. Let me set the scene for you. Becky Lynch, the trailblazer who main event WrestleMania, walked into Raw with one mission: get answers from Paul Heyman. Now, for those who might have missed the context, Heyman has been playing his usual games, manipulating situations, pulling strings backstage, and apparently, his latest puppet show involved making comments about Becky's recent losses and questioning whether she still belongs in the title picture. The audacity, right? This is the same woman who carried the women's division on her back for years. So Becky marches out there, microphone in hand, and you can see it in her eyes. She's not playing around. She demands that Heyman come out and say to her face what he's been saying behind her back. The crowd is absolutely electric. They are chanting her name. They want blood. And then Heyman's music hits. Now here's where things get interesting. Paul Heyman walks out with that smug smile we all know too well. He's got the microphone, and before Becky can even get a word in, he starts with his typical condescending tone. He calls her Rebecca instead of Becky. Strike one. He brings up her losses to Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, completely ignoring the context of those matches. Strike two. But then, and this is where it gets absolutely infuriating, he suggests that maybe, just maybe, Becky's time at the top has passed. That maybe she should consider stepping aside for the new generation of women's wrestlers. The disrespect. Can you believe this? This is Becky Lynch we're talking about. The woman who broke barriers, who made it possible for women to main event the biggest show of the year. And Heyman has the nerve to tell her to step aside? But Becky doesn't back down. She gets right in his face and reminds him exactly who she is. She reminds him that while he was managing one client after another, she was building an entire division from the ground up. She tells him that his opinion means absolutely nothing to her because he's never had to fight for respect the way she has. And then she delivers the line that has everyone talking. You want to talk about stepping aside, Paul? Why don't you step aside and let me show you what a real visionary looks like? The crowd erupts. Absolute pandemonium. But here's where it gets complicated. Seth Rollins is backstage watching this whole thing unfold on a monitor, and the cameras catch his reaction. And honestly, he looks conflicted. He's pacing back and forth, running his hands through his hair, clearly stressed about the situation. Some people are saying he should have rushed out there immediately to defend his wife. Others are saying Becky can handle her own battles and doesn't need anyone to fight for her. Before we continue, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Now, after the segment ends and Becky storms backstage, Seth is right there waiting for her, and according to multiple sources who were present, their conversation was heated. Seth apparently asked her why she didn't tell him she was planning to confront Heyman. Becky fired back asking why it matters, since she doesn't need permission to defend herself. Seth argued that he's concerned about her making enemies of the wrong people, specifically mentioning Heyman's connections to upper management and his relationship with Roman Reigns. And this is where the story gets even more layered, because Seth's not wrong to be concerned. Paul Heyman isn't just a manager, he's a political powerhouse in WWE. He has the ear of Triple H. He's been instrumental in some of the biggest storylines in recent history. Going to war with Heyman could potentially affect Becky's booking going forward. But at the same time, should Becky have to worry about that? Should she have to calculate every move based on who might get offended or who might have backstage influence? Here's a trivia question for you. In what year did Becky Lynch first win the Raw Women's Championship? Drop your answer in the comments below, and let's see who the real fans are. The wrestling community is absolutely divided on this. Twitter is a war zone right now. Some fans are praising Becky for standing up to Heyman and not backing down. They are calling her a role model and saying this is exactly the kind of energy we need from our top stars. Others are criticizing Seth for not immediately coming to her defense, saying that as her husband, he should have been out there the moment Heyman crossed the line. But let me offer a different perspective. Maybe, just maybe, Seth's reaction is more nuanced than people give him credit for. Seth Rollins has been in this business long enough to know how things work. He knows that sometimes the best way to support someone is to let them fight their own battles. He knows that if he had run out there, it would have undermined Becky's moment. It would have made it about him protecting her rather than her defending herself. And knowing Becky, that's probably the last thing she would have wanted. However, and this is a big however, Seth's concerns about Heyman's backstage influence are valid. We've seen what happens when you get on the wrong side of someone with power in WWE. We've seen careers derailed, pushes stopped, and storylines abandoned. Is it fair? Absolutely not. But is it reality? Unfortunately, yes. The question everyone's asking now is, what happens next? Does this turn into a full-blown feud between Becky and whoever Heyman is representing? Does Seth get dragged into it whether he wants to be or not? And most importantly, how does this affect Becky's path back to the championship? According to reports from Backstage, Triple H was actually pleased with how the segment went. The engagement numbers were through the roof. Social media was buzzing. And that's ultimately what matters in this business. But there's also talk that this could lead to a mixed tag team match at an upcoming premium live event, which would force Seth and Becky to work together while potentially dealing with their differing approaches to handling the situation. Here's another trivia question: who was Becky Lynch's opponent in her first WrestleMania main event? Let us know in the comments. What's really interesting is how this plays into the larger narrative of Becky's career. She's always been someone who does things her own way. When WWE tried to turn her heel in her feud with Charlotte Flair, the fans refused to boo her. When they tried to cool her off, she only got hotter. She's never been someone who plays by the traditional rules, and that's exactly why fans connect with her so deeply. So seeing her confront Heyman, regardless of the potential consequences, is completely in character. It's who she is. Seth, on the other hand, has evolved significantly over the years. He's gone from the cocky architect to the Monday Night Messiah to the revolutionary who wants to change WWE from within. His character is all about calculated moves and strategic thinking, so his hesitation and concern make sense from a character perspective. These two people love each other, but they approach the business very differently. The real controversy here isn't just about what happened on screen. It's about what this represents. It's about whether female wrestlers should have to navigate backstage politics differently than their male counterparts. It's about whether standing up for yourself should come with potential career consequences. And it's about whether we, as fans, should be okay with that status quo. Some insiders are suggesting that this whole thing might actually be leading to something much bigger. There's speculation that Becky could be positioning herself for a feud with someone in Heyman's camp, potentially setting up a major storyline for the next few months. Others think this could be the beginning of a power struggle storyline that involves multiple wrestlers who are tired of the old guard controlling everything. What do you think? Should Seth have rushed out to defend Becky immediately, or was he right to let her handle it herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments because we want to hear from you. This is exactly the kind of debate that makes wrestling so compelling. There's no clear right or wrong answer, and that's what makes it fascinating. The bottom line is this: what happened on Raw this week was significant. It wasn't just another segment that we'll forget about next week. This has real implications for how these characters develop and how their stories unfold. Becky Lynch proved once again why she's one of the most important wrestlers of this generation. She refused to be disrespected, and she did it with the confidence and fire that made her a star in the first place. As for Seth, time will tell whether his approach was the right one. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he's playing the long game. Or maybe he's just trying to protect his wife from potential backstage blowback while respecting her independence. Either way, their story is far from over, and we'll be watching closely to see what happens next. Make sure you stay tuned here on Wrestling Zone Insider for all the latest updates, backstage news, and analysis of everything happening in WWE. This story is just getting started, and we'll be covering every twist and turn. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.